jab, uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out there more. Saying that you're the best, you gotta show me, son. Actions over words, baby boy, is you real or what? Talking way too much, world combat sports. Talking way too much, world combat sports. Talking way too much, world combat sports.
Bomb Squad!
Yo, shout out to the hottest chat in the MF game, man. A-Side Official. You already know we back at it again in the building. I want to continue to talk about the Benn and Eubank rematch late September. I want to pivot into Turki, Al-Sheikh, and how, you know, there's some strange hocus pocus going on. Yes, some strange hocus pocus. Also, I want to talk about the clandestine behavior of boxing media. Though there may be people that's a bit perturbed based off this live stream, but it's okay. Let me get to the chat. Shout out to Haynes Legacy in the building. I see you. What's good? Mike on deck in the building. Salute. Big shout out to everyone that's on their way to the building. You already know, hit the button if you feel free. So we're going to check out some audio because, of course, I made a thumbnail and some people was trying to call me out on fake news. And look, they act like thumbnails like this don't happen. I broke Eubank Jr. jaw. They want to act like I'm saying it myself, man. They always try to hold me to some type of other standard that they don't hold themselves to. You got people over here that curve the narrative all the freaking time, but this is not too far from what I heard. You want to take a little peek at it? Let's take a little listen in to the audio.
And it must be said that while he was the victor, Junior was not in attendance at the press conference because he had to immediately go to the hospital, reportedly, and I don't have confirmation on this, that he had a broken jaw.
See, I mean, come on, man. You think I'm not listening? I didn't make the stuff up. I pretty much, that's what was reported. And then you have these Beetlejuice head looking dudes, man. These freaking beta cats that know the news is out there, but they want to brush shoulders with people in the echo chamber and that agree with everything they say. One thing I know for sure about the way boxing media is today, you got a lot of dudes that need confirmation. They want a lot of people that's hanging around them and they want to act like they know about boxing. But it's okay for them to have producer notes. But when really it comes down to knowing about boxing, they don't. They know how to speak on topics, but they don't want to give you no credit when you're up there busting them in the head with that knowledge. They don't want to give you credit. I just never found it difficult to do something right or to be right at something and watch somebody don't give you credit. But when you get in a habit yourself, as far as your character goes, and you learn something from somebody or they showed you something, they was right, you tell them, hey, you was right. Cool. You was right. No doubt. You was right. Then you get to really understand and see for yourself how they truly are. Why? Because either one, they're going to say thank you, or they're going to be like, oh, I know that I'm right. Or they might go to if you're right, they might go to something else to say, Oh, why don't I go in this direction? I see a lot of new cats that's on social media that's like that. I didn't create the narrative that his jaw was broken. The UK media put it out that he left the arena that his jaw was broken. So just relax, chill. Utilize your time doing something else. Okay? Let's get down to the possible rematch. There's a possible rematch that's going on with Turki Al-Sheikh already saying that he plans to stage the Chris Eubank Jr. Conor Benn rematch in late September at the same stadium, y'all. If they're not injured and ready, the British fans were amazing, and I thank them. He's ready to pull the trigger and set the schedule for entire card again over there in the UK. Now, my only thing about this is there was some funny business going on in the air. The crowd was electric. The crowd was their energy sparked up the entire evening, man. The main event, the main event just erased everything that we seen earlier. It was beautiful. The electricity, the aura. You know what I'm saying? It gave you a sense like, damn, you wish every boxing match could be like this, right? But let me show you something that pains me a little bit. Okay? Let me show you something. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it is I who has a problem. Let me paste this up here and let's have a brief discussion. Last night, right? That card, in my opinion, has some fights on there. There's no way in hell that shit was going to go the distance. Every freaking fight on the card went the distance. You trying to tell me I'm tripping? No, I ain't tripping. I'm on to something. Yeah, I'm on to something, goddammit. I ain't tripping. Chris Billum Smith, Brandon Gladden, distance. Clark, Riley, distance. 2 cruiserweight fights right there. Light heavy, Anthony Yard, Lyndon Arthur, distance. Okay? Liam Smith, Aaron McKenna, anyone who watched that fight know goddamn well McKenna could have finished down Liam Smith if he wanted to. Distance. That's 4 unanimous decisions leading up to the dang headliner, which to me, that went the distance because it was a tough ass fight, right? I'm gonna be honest with you. I thought they was throwing with bad intentions. It was inflictive. If that is even the word, it was violence. Conor Benn came in there on the warpath. His kill or be killed mentality. That's what lost him the fight. But I seriously thought that he came in there to knock Eubank out. And Eubank was trying his best to knock Conor Benn out. But those other 4 fights on the undercard, nah. No. Something's going on. Something's in the air. Some instructions, the orders. There's nowhere in hell all these 4 fights on the undercard. Look, Anthony Yard KO'd Lyndon Arthur in their rematch, their last fight in the 4th round. These 2 was allowed and permitted and granted access to fight on the ropes forever prior to the freaking referee ever saying anything. It was just titty tat tat tat, chitty 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 bang bang. Just fighting on the. Oh man, it was rough. Smith McKenna could have got Liam Smith up out of there, bro. He dropped him in the 12th round, man. You could have dropped him early in the fight and finished that guy. What was Clark and Riley doing? Just moving around? That whole undercard was unique for all the wrong reasons. I'm going to be honest with you. That shit was weak for all the wrong reasons, man. That shit sucked. All them unanimous decisions, nobody's going to tell me or convince me that shit was natural. I don't see that shit playing out natural. Somebody said, no, we're here to give them a show. We have a whole soccer stadium. I want you all to go the distance. I want every fight to go the distance to keep everybody tuned in. Something's going on, bro. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I need to put it out there. So if you hear anybody else still in my ish, just tell them I said, Domo arigato gozaimasu. Tell them I said thank you. If this card this week with Ryan Garcia, Rolly Romero, Devin Haney, Jose Ramirez, and Teofimo Lopez and Honorable Bosa all go the mother effing distance, I'm telling you, the new Ringmaster has came and he is here in the light. You know what I'm saying? He is here in the flesh. He is giving these cats orders for entertainment. If all three of these Times Square fights go the distance, then you heard it here. You heard me mention it. You heard me mention it. If all of these fights go the distance, I know some people up here saying, oh, AWCS, I don't think it's a chance in hell that the devil's going to be dancing in victory when goddamn Ryan Garcia don't knock out freaking Rolly Romero. Anybody and everybody knows that's a sure thing that Ryan Garcia can go in there and do the same thing Isaac Cruz did. Doing dirty just like Barroso was doing. Do him something dirty, yo. If Ryan Garcia goes the distance with Rolando Romero, it is absolutely BS. Once again, the hocus pocus is live and is in the air. And I'm telling you, it's bullshit. If it's not a single knockout on this freaking Fatal Fury card, if Canelo Alvarez and William Skull go the distance, it is utter bullshit. And the reason why I'm making this claim is because these fighters are more than capable of going in there and putting on a hell of a show, because we have witnessed them do so previously. We have seen it with our own eyes. How all of a sudden they want to plug you into the matrix and seem like shit is slowing down. Boxing's changing. We need for people to come and make it a gentleman's sport like it was before. That means they want to see entertainment. Yeah, they want to see entertainment. See, I've noticed something about Turkey, that he loves walking over to the judges. He loves walking over to the judges, bro. This dude loves walking over to the judges. Have you noticed the odds? The betting odds on Turkey's fights are weird. Unless you're doing a parlay or something, have you known that the betting odds on Turkey Al-Sheikh's fights are bogus? Like, it's really nothing that you have to gain, because they say, is the fight gonna go to the decision? They'll put it minus so and so, and then is it gonna be a knockout? They'll put plus 115. Like, damn. It's almost like you can't get no monetary benefit if you out there trying to win a little extra dollar bill. Even with the Ryan Garcia, and I think the casinos, the betting people looking at it that way too, man. I think they're looking at it like, man, we ain't really fucking with his fight cards like that. Because in order to build up the Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez fight, it would be better if Canelo went in there and knocked out William Skull. For him to go in there and go the distance like he has his last 4 to 5 fights, it's only saying that we in for a hell of a roller coaster ride come September. We in for a hell of a surprise come September. You know, he's trying to remotely brainwash motherfuckers based off what is appearing in front of their eyes. And the brainwashing comes into play when people start second guessing themselves when it comes to some of these fights. If it's over here in the US, it's like, okay, I feel good betting this, this, and this. But with his fights, nah. You might try to get a bet. Will there be a knockdown or something? But everybody and their mama, they step auntie, they adopted grandma, everybody knows that Ryan Garcia should be able to go in there and stop Rolando Romero. Why do you say that, WCS? The reason being is I keep hearing some of you dudes still use the same trash narratives. What does that mean again? What does that mean? Trash narratives. That means from one fight to the next, you always hold the same fighters to the same stamp. For instance, Ryan Garcia coming off pads. Oh, I want to see how you're gonna look. I want to see. It wasn't like Ryan Garcia wasn't with fast hands before that fight. It wasn't like Ryan Garcia wasn't making videos, man, on social media and putting out freaking shadow boxing. It wasn't like he wasn't out here on social media, man, and people knew who he was. He wasn't considered to have some of the fast hands. This man was doing the reaction bag blindfolded. It's not too many fighters can do that. He was doing the reaction bag blindfolded. Now, what I mean about some of the trash narratives is that Ryan Garcia is coming off suspension. I keep hearing, I want to see what he's going to do. Well, guess what? Conor Benn came off a 14-month layoff, off pads, and y'all seen what happened with him. He went in there and gave it all he had. He came in there to commit an act of freaking violence, to fight, to brawl, whatever it took to get that win for his pops. And you're talking about a person who also tested positive for performance enhancing drug, clomiphene. So when y'all sit up here and put the stamp on these fighters that, oh, I just want to keep on saying it was just the ostarine that Ryan Garcia had. No, you even heard Bud Crawford. You heard plenty of people say no. He said Ryan Garcia should have kept the win, because when it comes down to boxing, how can ostarine be that productive in just one fighter when you don't have the necessary evidence to go out here and seek other fighters? I'm talking about 50, 100 straight that pop positive. And they have won all of them, 50 to 100. They have won their fights in dominating fashion. They destroy them because it just don't work like that. At the end of the day, you have to wager the time that you spend in the gym and fight camp learning how to box for years upon years at a time to help you with your defense. We seen what happened. And I'm not condoning Ryan Garcia's situation. But a part of me, the more and more I look at it, with him testing clear, not a problem doing camp and all that, but all of a sudden up to the fight, he popped dirty. And it's supposed to be a Nostradamus out there that knew he was going to pop dirty. And you're trying to tell me that his left hook was so fast blinding fast that he couldn't, and Devin Haney couldn't move out of the way. He couldn't slip that. No, man. Crawford even said, man, it comes down to boxing. You know how to box, man. You see what's in front of you. Why you getting lit up like that? Regardless of, you talking about a dude, in my opinion, Crawford is the type of dude that'll welcome someone that was on pads just to show them that, yeah, you have an enhancer, but I'm still better than you. He gives me that type of aura about him. It's not ego either. It's straight up understanding who you are as a person. And he would say, man, you take what you want. Whether it's boxing, wrestling match, I don't care. Crawford comes off as a fighter that if his opponent tested positive, he's like, hey, it don't matter. Let him fight. I want to fight. Because his whole thing is, I'm going to beat his ass anyway. And I'm going to put a little bit more wasabi on there just because he came in here dirty. But I want him to fight. I want him to take this fight. I'm cool with it. I want him to take this fight. I don't care about none of that shit he got in his system. See, you have other fighters that'll bow out. And they'll use that as an excuse. Say, I don't want to fight. But what we seen yesterday between Conor Benn and Eubank, knowing that Benn was coming off suspension and, yeah, people was taking shots at him, he showed out, bro. Eubank was forced to enter another realm that he didn't think he would go into with Conor Benn. He didn't think a smaller fighter like that would force him to surpass that threshold and have to fight for his life in there. I mean, if you look at him at the end of the second round, you're saying to yourself, damn, old boy looked tired. But his daddy came out of him. He goddamn, he found that warrior spirit. And the fight came, the fight ended up playing out beautifully. Absolutely beautifully. Now, do you want to see this in September? What Turki Al-Sheikh does. Turki Al-Sheikh said, I want to schedule the fight in September. That's what I want to do. No ifs, ands, or buts, none of that shit. I want to schedule the fight in September. Hey, shout out to IOTBA Boxing Talk in the building. Man, congrats to you for getting a movie role, bro. Real talk. That's good shit. Shout out to the OG Bruce Gas, Boxing Jazz, and more. What's good with y'all? I think I know who this is, but shout out to Abdul, man. Shout out to you. If you who I think you are, man, salute to you, bro. You know what I'm saying? You know what it is, man. Salute to you, bro. Real talk. One love to you, man. Shout out to Arnold Brown in the building. I see you. He said, but that not being the top fighters, that was a hell of a fight. And that's where I kind of bleed over into the trash narratives. We have to stop comparing previous fighters just because they were somewhat in a similar predicament or scenario and just say that is the normality moving forward. That is what we should stamp this with every single time a similar situation come up. That's what we should do. No. Conor Benn, who would have thought? I've heard so many people complain about, Crawford with 14 pounds. Who would have thought the small guy would go ham? Who would have thought that he would have forced Eubanks to defend himself? That's exactly what Conor Benn did. Eubank admitted to it. Eubank said, I didn't think the little guy had it. He surprised me. I didn't think he had it in him. He underestimated the little guy. Is the same going to happen in September? Huh? Think about this. We're supposed to have another fight in September, right? How's this going to work? We supposed to have a fight September 13th between Canelo and Crawford. Now Turki Al-Sheikh is talking about having Conor Benn and Chris Eubank in September. Are they going to be on the undercard? I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with it being on the, Crawford Canelo undercard. I wouldn't have a problem with it. Real talk. I wouldn't. But at the end of the day, all I want is for certain media guys to stop downplaying fights. The way I see it is like it was a hell of a fight over there. The soccer stadium was packed. Man, sitting at home watching the walkout, I was like, damn, I wonder what it's like to soak in that type, like as a human being, not just a licensed professional fighter, but as a human being. Like, how is it to soak in that much energy? Walk into the ring, that many people in the stadium, and it's not a soccer game? Like, you're going in there on the battlefield to compete for 12 rounds. And you have a legacy that your fathers left that seems to be unfinished due to their sons. A legacy that has been chatter in the chatter box for a long time. And now finally we get it. I mean, I think the energy was electric, unbelievable. And I think the fight itself lived up to everything we would hope for in a lot of fights over here in the U.S. I felt that even if I take the crowd with Conor and Eubank, and I put that crowd with Crawford and Errol Spence, I don't know if the crowd noise is the same. Now, I know the capacity is different, okay? Before people be running up on him, hey, man, the capacity is different. They sold it out. I understand that capacity was different at T-Mobile. But I don't know if the crowd noise was as electric as the UK fan base. You know what I'm saying? But take nothing away from the T-Mobile massacre. Nothing away. I just felt like both of these fighters equally put up a hell of a fight. The Crawford Spence fight was kind of lopsided to me. But that's not the reason why I mention it. I mention it due to the crowd noise and the magnitude of that particular matchup. I just thought that whole entire euphoria over there at the soccer stadium was incredible. I mean, that shit was incredible. You know what I'm saying? Maybe, some U.S. boxing fans, if y'all wasn't so entitled to cheer for a fighter, you say you're not a fan of the fighter, you're a fan of the sport. But every time I turn around, this fight hadn't even reached a good solid 48 hours outside of post fight. And all I'm hearing is the same shit I heard with Spence and Crawford. I hear people talking about, man, he was weight drained. Imagine if he wasn't weight drained, man. Imagine he didn't have the rehydration clause, man. Imagine all of it. Imagine. Come on, just think about that, man. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but just think about this in its totality, dude. If he wouldn't have been weight drained, I'm so sick and tired of hearing excuses that people make just to argue instead of talking heavily about the fight itself. What the fuck do you want to happen? These dudes went in there and scrapped it out for 12 rounds. And you got people, well, it was a close fight, but it wouldn't have been close if Eubank wouldn't have been weight drained. And also, Conor Benn, man, F him. He tested positive and he want to put a rehydration clause up there. So you want him already to come from a lower division, lighter division, up to fight the heavier fighter. No rehydration clause. 14-month layoff. And you want him to go in there and do what exactly? Do what of that? What do you want him to do? I mean, goddamn. I think Eubank need to think about having the exact same freaking layout. Maybe adjust, just push the needle up a little bit give him a little bit of weight points, so he won't have to drop so much weight. Give him like 3, give him 3 extra pounds. You know what I'm saying? And so he won't have to cut down so much. And let's see how the fight happened now. Now that both fighters have been in there with each other, they have the experience. Let's see what September going to bring. But I'm curious to know if it's going to be on the undercard of Canelo Crawford. A part of me is not trying to give you the conspiracy cachet of theories that something's weird going to happen with Canelo and Skull. I'm seeing shit play out with the Ringmaster. And I heard him pushing this September fight with Eubank and Benn. And I'm saying to myself, is that with or without Crawford Canelo? Should I predict something strange is going to happen with Canelo and Skull that's going to delay the fight with Canelo Crawford? A part of me feels that way. I'm not trying to be a party pooper. Seriously, I'm not trying to be a party pooper, but something tells me that. Shout out to Dr. Mark. What's good? What's good? Salute to you. I see you in the building. I don't know what the rehydration was, but Eubank was huge, and that size got to being in the late rounds. I agree with you on that. Al Money in the building. What's good with it? I agree with you on that. Should Rolly retire if he gets his bell rung again? That kid's taking some hard L's. Shout out to Andrew in the building. Look at it this way. You propose a valid question, but are there others who would ask the same question with concern about Rolando Romero? Because it seems like this guy, low key, Andrew, this guy is the baby in the crib that was floating down the river. God damn it! I've never seen a fighter in recent decades who has been glowing with a halo over his head like Rolly Romero. Now, when I say halo, that doesn't mean he has been blessed going in there getting victories. No. This dude continued to fall short of the glory of God, and he is raised up as if he's rededicated his life, and he lands right back in a positive position once again. He lands right back. Come on. He got a fight with Gervonta Davis. You know, KO. Boom. God raised him up to 140 and gave him a position in the WBA sanctioned body. How and when have you ever seen a fighter get a belt that easily coming off a knockout loss? No. No fight in between now. No tune-up in between. Nada. He goes straight up there to 140 and gets a belt, becomes established, cemented world champion. I heard Rolly say in the interview that he's a 2-time world champion. I had to catch myself. Even though I was in the comfort of my own quarters, I felt my right hand reaching over my left shoulder. I was about to, I'll say, don't you dare say that shit again. I found myself shadow boxing the pimp slap. Don't get your goddamn, get goddamn well that shit was gifted to you. He get destroyed by Isaac Cruz, y'all. He get destroyed by Isaac Cruz. Somehow, some way, y'all. Truth be told, Rolando Romero continues. I don't know how he's doing it. I have a team investigating this as we speak. But let me check some out right quick on Rolando. Because we saw how Tony Weeks, when he spread his wings and his eyes start to glow red, he went over there and stopped the fight for Rolando. Another gift from the Most High, yo. Rolando Romero is special. When I tell you he's special for all different reasons. Rolando Romero is 16-2, been stopped twice in his 2 losses. He was stopped by Gervonta and Isaac Cruz. He went in there and had a fight with Manuel James, which was he won a UD in a 10-round fight. Now he's going in there with Ryan Garcia. As I told you all before, Rolando Romero is one of the most special boxers of this era. Not so much from his performances inside the square, but more so from somehow, some way, his aura, like his anointment. Rolando Romero's been blessed by something. I've never seen some shit like this happen. I've never seen it. I've never seen a fighter who is bragging about becoming a champion in a short amount of professional fights. That's what Rolando Romero was doing. I never seen a fighter like Rolando who had skills, but when he ventured into a fight with a big name, it wasn't considered to be a 50-50. So once the fight was over and Rolando lost to Gervonta Davis, when he was when he was bumbling off the ring ropes, you know what I'm saying? Like he had been stuck in some silk freaking webbing, you know, when a caterpillar was just heading into springtime or something. Like he stumbled out the club from drinking a whole bottle of Everclear. This dude go home, recovers, phone rings. Hey, guess what, Rolando? We're going to move you up to 140 pounds. Yeah. We're going to search you in a WBA sanctioning body. The same one that they're trying to advocate for to be to clean up the sport. Yeah, they're trying to say the WBA is just advocating the cleanse, but they allowed Rolando Romero to go in there and get blessed when he was getting beat up by Ismael Barroso, who was somehow, some way rumored to be 163 years old. But Tony Weeks said, you know what? Something isn't right here. Let me stop the fight. There goes Rolando Romero. The rest is history. My biggest concern is Rolando has landed himself in a main event headliner with Ryan Garcia. Of all people, from what we've witnessed over the period of seeing Ryan Garcia's last fight with Devin Haney and what we know about Rolando Romero, this should be a knockout win for Ryan Garcia. I'm telling you, if this fight go the distance, it is strictly from the ringmaster himself. I'm being honest. It is strictly from the ringmaster himself. I have money on deck, man. I see you. Blue Hustle on deck. What's good with you, Blue? Io said Canelo needs a KO. We need something to hype this up, right? But it's just a little bit puzzling for me. Now that he's saying he's going to put Eubank and Benn, are they going to be one of the primary fights in September? Because I know he's not going to put it back to back. That's not going to happen. He's not going to throw this back to back. I don't think so. I'm not saying he can't, but I don't think it's going to happen. And then we have allegedly Crawford Canelo that's supposed to happen September 13th this year. So this is going to be an undercard fight, or we about to see something creepy happened between Canelo and Skull. Just to be honest with you, I'm definitely putting some money on Skull. Seriously. I look, the way these motherfuckers, man, come on, man. They're gonna milk it and milk it and milk it, and then they're gonna hit us over the head, yo, with something crazy. And you can laugh. I understand that you can laugh, but Ring has put out false information purposely to wrangle the boxing fans, to continue to puppetize us because they just wanted to see what the reaction's like. You have seen him ringside walking around to the judges. Come on, bro. You know that shit don't supposed to happen. We've seen Carlos Adames obviously beat Hamza Shiraz, and they call it a draw. It seems like the only way that the fight is going to be won definitively if you go over there and KO your opponent. If you're supposed to be the A side, you go in there and KO your opponent. Get them out the way. Done. Anthony said, I'm a Bud fan, but it's hard to see Bud getting past that size and power for 12 rounds. I still can't bet against Bud, though. my respectfully, Anthony, just hear me out on this. You just witnessed a fighter that's not on Bud level going there against a bigger guy. And we really didn't have any type of promo to follow Conor Benn doing his suspension, him preparing for this fight, nothing. We didn't have an epilogue, an active epilogue 1 and 2, actively following Benn and Eubank. It wasn't that way. But what we did have is a lack of confidence. What we did here is, there's no way. No. We had people debating 14 pounds, y'all. We had people saying that Crawford looked bad against Madrimov. He looked bad. Conor Benn, that's ranked at 147 pounds, just moved up and fought the bigger fighter, and he went 12 hard rounds with him. Yes, he was in there fighting and brawling. Eubank won because he was the better, technically sound, fundamentally executing what he needed with the effective punches, and he ended up pulling away and win the fight. It was a close one. It was a close fight. But to say that you can't see because people believe, well, let me show you this there, Anthony. Let me show you this right quick. Just so I can kind of, you can put this in your brain housing, you can process it, put it in your mid part of your brain, recall that motherfucker, archive it for a later time, pull it back up, you know what I'm saying? And look how Bud looks against Troy Isley, who is a middleweight. Crawford has put on size and everything nicely. Troy Isley, shout out to the Transformer. He is a middleweight, and Crawford looks bigger than him. He looks bigger than Troy. So what I'm saying is, to me, if Crawford cannot take full advantage from being a year out the ring, him, his strength and conditioning, his nutritionist, the mad scientist Bomac, you trying to tell me you don't have faith that they can get this done a year out from fighting Canelo? No. Come on, bro. This is the fight that's going down, the 3-point fight card that's going to be in Times Square, May 2nd, 2025. As you see, you have Ryan Garcia, who is basically been cleared to fight following a year suspension. Next to him is Rolando Romero, who there were certain individuals in the chat that has concern about him and the punishment for him to go in there with a fighter who definitely inflicted damage on Devin Haney. Does Rolando Is he healthy enough to go in there with potentially to take the amount of damage that Ryan Garcia inflicted on Devin Haney? I know Haney and Rolando Romero are two different fighters, but if you was to have a control study of people and ask them the question, do they believe that Rolando Romero, skill for skill, in comparison to Rolando Romero and Devin Haney, do you believe within your heart that Rolando Romero will have a better performance than Devin Haney did? And I believe the consensus would tell you no, they cannot see that. Even though they'll turn around and say styles make fights. But I say to myself, Rolando Romero has 2 losses and both been stoppages. I know if there was any other fighter that had 2 losses by the name of Bud Crawford, they'd be calling him a bum. From now, tomorrow, next week, all the way up to goddamn August, September 12th, they'll still be, oh man, he ain't fought nobody. He been stopped twice. Canelo's about to goddamn stop him again. It's people out there that still saying Rolando Romero can take a punch. They still saying Rolando has a puncher's chance to go in there and inflict something on Ryan Garcia. And I'll say, God damn it, these boxing fans don't get it, man. If Ryan was in shape, he would have knocked Haney out, drugs or not. Oh, well, you know, one thing we know about Devin is that he was dominating the fight with Jorge Linares before he was rocked in round 10. He didn't hit the canvas. He made it back to his corner. I tell people all the time, you can say what you want, but it was cats out here talking about he was chinny. And I'll say, how can you prove that he was chinny when at that time Teofimo had been on the canvas, Lomachenko had been on the canvas? You know what I'm saying? It was plenty of other fighters that was at 135 that has touched the canvas. Devin had not yet touched the canvas. Seriously. He did not touch the canvas at 135. But here you are, you have Rolando Romero, and people still think he has a puncher's chance because he can say the goofy shit outside the ring and people just welcome him back. You know what I'm saying? This is one of the worst lead ups to a fight with this many unified champions and notable fighters on it, yo. We have some notable unified champions on this card. And when they was all in the room together, this shit was whack. The only person that was saying something and building up the card was Teofimo Lopez. Who does have bragging rights, is a 2-division lineal, formerly undisputed if you want to add the franchise. Also, who else on this card has beat a top 2 pound-for-pound fighter in their division? You have to ask yourself, is it a potential for this fight to be influenced by hocus pocus? Is it a potential for this fight to be influenced from the orders? It's just something about this fight card with all these fights going the distance that provides a little bit of inflammation for me. It gives me a little bit of agitation because I was boosting up and praising Turkey at first, but now I'm seeing like, at least I was right at one thing. I say Turkey's gonna do what the fuck Turkey wants to do, and he's showing us in our face that he's doing what the hell he's want to do, and it's not going to be to the benefit of us. This dude is walking around talking to the judges. I don't know how much stress those judges have, but if boxing for you content creators. If boxing is the same across the board and the commission's supposed to be doing this, that, and the other, why is Turkey walking around the ring talking about this and that with the judges and all that? Why do you find that cool not to talk about? Why do you find it okay just to ignore it and act like everything is playing out the way it should be over there? That's not the case, man. That is not the case. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, pay attention to this Canelo Skull fight. I don't know, man. I don't want to tell nobody to do shit. But I'm just telling you. When we got confirmation that a fight is happening in September, you know, we got confirmation, but also we had confirmation of another projected fight that's supposed to go down in September also. Which one? Are they going to be in combination on the same card, or one fight isn't going to happen and they want to go with the Eubank Benn based off what just happened this past Saturday? I don't know. You have to ask yourself. If Ryan was in shape, I appreciate you, Abdul. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you, big dog. Hope everything is going great your way, man. If it's the same person, I saw your friends ringside. I forgot what y'all called that. I saw them ringside for the fight card. Yeah. But that's my biggest question. You know, this right here, the September playing out the way it did this past Saturday, and for Turki Al-Sheikh to put it out there already. Let me just do a little bit more due diligence and let me frolic over here to this boxing segue and see if any other information has came out. Now, in the process of me looking at this information, I want to ask you this also. Do you, or let me ask you this in this context. Are you eager to see Benn Eubank in September based off the performances? Do you think what you witness, the type of activity, it living up to the billing? Both fighters pretty much leaving it all in the ring, in my opinion. Regardless of who won or who lost, would you like for this fight to be in September? And if you do, you don't have no problem with seeing it that quick, right? Let's clear up one thing about Eubank. Eubank was said not to have a broken jaw. Okay. Supposedly it was due to the cut that he had, and that was that. Now, both fighters did look like they had bruising and everything. Would you like to see these two engage in the art of war this year based off what you just seen this past Saturday? I wouldn't mind seeing it, but not at the expense of something goofy going on between Canelo and Skull. I'm really not trying to hear the news that Crawford is going to fight someone else because Canelo is, the fight is not what it is. I do believe that people should take what you see in front of you a little bit more serious, what Turki Al-Sheikh is doing. I'm just saying, just pay a little bit more attention to the influence on how some of this stuff is becoming a little bit eerie. I mean, you know how you don't like to watch puppet movies when you're about to go to sleep? Just pay attention. This is in the daytime now. It's a lot that I see that's going on in the daytime, this puppetizing And it's just blatant in our face. And I really think that these 3 fights at Times Square is going to tell us a lot about what's going on and what I believe. You know, even though it's an assumption, I believe if all 3 of these fights go the distance is bullshit. The only fighter, and I know people keeps believing that Devin Haney may potentially, I don't know how much damage affected Devin Haney. I just know both his jaws was, but it's no way just based off that performance that I can say he's damaged and Jose Ramirez is gonna go in there and stop him. I'm not gonna say that because, like I said, when they were saying he was chinny, he was one of the only primary names at 135 that haven't touched the canvas. But out of the fights, most people are saying Ryan Garcia, Romero, and Teofimo Lopez, Arnold Barbosa. Those 2 fights may potentially have some shock value to them. Shock value where boxing fans are saying, well, it's a potential based off what we've seen with this type of style with Teofimo and this, that, and the other. What Teofimo we're going to get? People believe that Barbosa, you know what I'm saying? He's going to come in there with the fury of Conor Benn because he too was provided a palm nail to the jaw. Teofimo slapped him, but it wasn't unprovoked. Arnold Barbosa pushed the man after he freaking knocked his hat off his head. So it wasn't like it was unprovoked. But a lot of people believe that Barbosa has a chance in defeating Teo. But when I say nobody, hardly anybody believes that Rolando Romero has a chance in hell to go ahead and defeat Ryan Garcia. Seriously, I don't see Rolando Romero knocking down Ryan Garcia. And to be honest, I don't think this fight should go anywhere outside of 3 rounds. That's if it's no orders given and no hocus pocus. I don't see it going outside 3 rounds. We've seen Ryan Garcia open up a fight aggressively against Tank Davis. Even though he was dropped in the 2nd round, he was super aggressive. Will he do that against a strong, wild brawler like Rolly? I think if he touched Rolly on the chin with that left hook, I think confetti, styrofoam, you know what I'm saying? Silly string. I think all that shit is going to start to fall out Rolly's chin. Seriously. I think his shit is patched up. They've tried everything possible. They put super glue on it. And it's only a matter of time before Ryan Garcia touched that shit and it's going to come apart. I'm just being honest with you. I'm being absolutely honest. I also want to bring to your attention, ask you a question, what you think. Please, can you provide me with your thoughts on this, okay? Because a lot of these so-called people who love the sport, they won't provide any criticism for Canelo, right? Because Canelo's skull, you can consider it to be Canelo's card. Come on, man. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But I want your thoughts on this, please, if you can. This is Canelo versus Skulls UC. Just take a gander at that. What do you think about that? Do you think it is okay, nothing out of the ordinary for this undercard with Canelo Skull? You think it needs to be something? Because pretty much what they're saying is that Canelo's pay-per-view, if you bundle the Times Square card and Canelo, it's $90. All right. But for the Canelo Alvarez, the zone pay-per-view is $60 in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. So once again, no one in their, in their whole entire family is thinking that Skull is going to be Canelo. No one is thinking that this guy is going to come out and demonstrate and prove the critics wrong that he was qualified to be in there with Canelo. I don't see any shocker. I don't see a Buster Douglas, moment. I don't see it. And no, I don't think the C in Skull stands for champion, especially unified champion. Okay, I don't think it stands for confidence. I don't think it's anything that's going to be of shock value to derail the Crawford Canelo fight in September. But when I look at some of these fights over there, I don't know what to think. The undercard, we have Bruno Saras versus Hami Magia. Is that the co? Is that the co? At the co-feature? Martin Bacoli versus F.A. Jagba. I mean, that right there seems a bit interesting to me, especially off Bacoli's, second round knockout loss to Joseph Parker. I think that is kind of, a little pinchy there. Badu Jack versus Ryan Rozicki. Okay. Marco Verde versus Michel Polina. Brian Leon against Aaron Guerrero. But yet people want to talk about undercards, trash cards. No, I want to talk about your trash narratives, man. Y'all pick and choose on who you want to criticize. Nobody in the chat commented on this undercard. Why? Man, I know y'all not in church yet, man. And salute to those who's going to evening service. But can y'all just give just a little bit of feedback on this undercard? Does Canelo have y'all under an NDA? God damn. Nobody want to talk about Canelo's freaking undercard with Skull. Is that off limits? Did he all have y'all sign an NDA and y'all ain't speaking on that shit, man? What's good? Okay. Thanks. You're proving your point. I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to throw no more goddamn jabs to the body. I get it. Y'all don't want to talk about the undercard. You just want to let silence be the confirmation. I get it. I get it, man. I get it. Let's move on. Real talk. There's an article out that Hearn is against Conor Benn having a rematch in September. He would rather Conor Benn fight for a championship. Okay? That's Eddie Hearn. He would rather Conor Benn fight for a championship. Once again, you proposed the question and present it to the listeners. Would you like for Conor Benn to move back down to 147 pounds and fight for a championship? Or are you more so on board with a September rematch while the steel is hot? What do you want? Would you want him to move back down to 147 where he's more so in a natural environment? And also you have to factor in this also. Conor Benn has made it a point to say, I want revenge. Post-fight, he said he want revenge. Conor Benn is hell-bent on revenge. So if you ask him, he's going to say September. But Eddie Hearn wants him to move back down to 147. Now, I want to know what you think. Do y'all have a fiber in your body to press the key to let me know? Do you want him to potentially fight for a title? Move back down to 47, or would you like to see this rematch happen? Okay, let me know. I would appreciate your feedback. I would appreciate your feedback for real. Moving on, I want to ask this about the U.S. fighters coming up. I want to ask you: have you seen the weather change? Have you witnessed the weather change in boxing? Are you even giving a damn or paying attention about the weather? What I mean by the weather is the procedures and format on how boxing, is used to. Like, say for instance, let me start here. Like, we seen what happened during the pandemic where boxing was struggling, right? And now we're in 2025. The sport is still struggling. It seems like it really hasn't recovered. In the process of economic influx, it's costing more and more to put on fights. What we did witness in 23 was that Showtime decided to part ways, okay, over at PBC. Also, we have heard that ESPN, their relationship of matrimony with Top Rank, has since divorced or pending divorce. So that means there's some scuttlebutt out here. Scuttlebutt is just rumor mill that potentially the PBC and Top Rank was going to work with each other. Or, I talked to Rick Glacier, he said that's not really going to change anything, like if Prime and PBC work together. It's not like they're going to put on an entire annual calendar together and co-promote. So we're seeing some changes happening. But what I want to remind the content creators that they refuse to keep it 1,000. You are the same human beings. We're talking about the different sides of the streets just some years ago. You were up here celebrating that certain fighters weren't going to get a fight. Yes, I don't hate bringing up these names, but you all were the same ones who was talking about how it's good, it's productive to have in-house fights. That's all you heard these cats. Boy, if I was to see, I have so many freaking screen records of people's catalogs. Ones who are trying to insinuate that they want a cohesive bond with these promoters in the US. They want to work as allies. They want to work on esprit de corps, camaraderie ship. When they was the same ones that was saying in-house fights are more productive. All because they had their favorite fighter and they say, no, they're on the other side of the street. Top Rank doesn't do this. PBC don't do this. We don't want to see that fight. Every time it came down to different promotions. So when you get these content creators pushing these trash ass narratives when it comes to the best fighting the best, sometimes the best fighting the best meant that one half of the best was over here at Top Rank, the other half was over here at PBC, but you all was busy kicking, oh man, no, that fight ain't gonna happen because now so-and-so on the wrong promotion. We're gonna keep it over in the in-house. We don't need them. We don't need that fight. Now all of a sudden, Turki Al-Sheikh has entered the room. Now the complaint has moved and redirected his energy towards him. Some people say, the fighters should go over there and get their money. Then some saying, they shouldn't be messing with him. But when it comes down to the fighters themselves, they're going to make the decision to go where the money at. You're seeing it play out in front of you. You're seeing fighters going over here, signing on for sponsorship deals. Initially, we seen Naoya in a way. He went over there, signed to a sponsorship deal. You know, I'm not naming everybody, but I'm saying Shakur Stevenson. We seen how that shit played out, where there was some miscommunication of numbers. Shakur took to social media. When he did that, I was thinking to myself, I say, man, you're gonna find out real quick that you're not running shit. Turkey went over there and grabbed his two partners, Abdullah Mason and Keyshawn Davis, signed them to a sponsorship deal, and then he had to double back. If I had anything to, any advice for Shakur, don't try to explain to total strangers that you're a man at the end of the day. You don't bow down to nobody. Doing business, yeah, sometimes it does force you to, take a knee. Sometimes it takes you to both knees and pray. Sometimes it requires you to stand on your 2 feet, all 10 toes, and talk to the people that you're paying money for and see what's the best direction to go in. But what we seen happen was Turki Al-Sheikh pretty much told this cat, you're not going to fight for Riyadh season anymore. You're not going to put me on blast on here like, I'm one of those promoters that you're used to doing that. And somehow, some way, he had to double back. But in the interim, what I'm trying to get at is that the sport itself and all the moving parts with these promotions, it's a lot to deal with. So much to the fact that, do you have a spreadsheet moving forward on how these big fights are going to be made, how these fighters are going to get paid? Check this out, for instance. Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roche rematch. Okay? You have people that was initially saying they didn't want to see it, just dogging the fight out. The fight ended up somewhat playing out like Eubank and Benn. It exceeded our expectations, so to speak. I'm not saying it was the same type of dynamic as far as energy. I'm just saying it exceeded our expectations, right? So therefore, it was people out here saying that Gervonta should go over where the money at with Turkey. I'm like, hold up. You all were saying that he shouldn't go over to Turki Al-Sheikh. He should just stand his ground. He don't need the money. He should just stay right here. And then you're being selfish because you was pushing these trash narratives. Now you want to say, in order to. Now you want to say, in order to. For him to get these fights, in order to make Gervonta and Shakur Stevenson, in order to make this fight, he needs to go over there to Riyadh season. So you make up your mind. Is Turkey the way, the truth, and the light? Or you confused? Because initially y'all was saying that Turkey's trying to monopolize boxing. All because he brought Dana White and Nick Khan over here to start TKA boxing promotion. I have my reservations about this guy, but not so much to the point where I'm trying to change anything. I enjoyed watching the Grand Prix. I ain't gonna lie. I'll say, okay, man, we haven't had the World Boxing Series in a minute. We haven't had the Super Six. We haven't had a lot. I mean, I was tuned in to the Grand Prix playing out during the day. I was like, cool. Shout out to Mojo, man. I got to see one of my guys was telling me, hey, they had an up-and-coming fighter. Got to see him fight for the first time, live and live in color. Got to see several fighters that I haven't seen, period, from different countries. Just to see these different styles clash. I was like, all right, cool. I like that Grand Prix. So there's some pluses to what he has going on over there. But for the bigger fights, I truly believe all money ain't good money, goddammit. And the only way that they're going to have to prove that this money doesn't fall within that cliche saying is they go over there and continue to win. I'm just saying, this guy is not afraid of controversy. You know, when he really started to, when the fire really started to catch a blaze, it really started to heat up, and people's like, man, you got fighters over there losing. You got fighters over there fighting these tough fights, and they're always gone. Well, one thing we know for sure, that Turki Al-Sheikh could care less about an undefeated fighter. He can care less. But the U.S., that's the narrative they push for some fighters. Other fighters who have losses already, what they say? Oh, they sell tickets. They put butts in seats. But clearly, Turki Al-Sheikh doesn't care about an O. Turki Al-Sheikh does not care about anyone's O. I'm gonna be honest and frank with you. Let me school along to this next piece of information that you're gonna like, and I like this too, man. Let me put this up, and this is something that I can smile about. Why? Because it was a little bit of chatter and buzz that this fight or champion would be fighting someone else. And thank God that the pantheon, that the angels came up and they had a meeting, and they say, no, we're not going to allow this to happen. Look at this right here. Alexander Usyk and Daniel Dubois will be facing one another in Wembley Stadium. Now, you want to talk about one of the best fighters of this era in Alexander Usyk. This guy, you want to talk about Alexander Usyk's O has been glowing like a golden egg. His performance value, man, he is doing what you want to see. But I know the boxing fans would love to have had this type of run from their favorite fighter in the lighter divisions, i.e. 35 all the way up to 54. I know they would want somebody like Usyk down there for the run that he's been on. He's stepping back in there, not with Derek Chisora, but he's stepping back in there with Daniel Dubois. Another fighter that have turned the corner. He has put the demons to rest. This is one fighter who shows you that if you try hard enough, he or she can defeat your demons. And he started that coming off a fight with Usyk where they said he quit just because the knockdown, which he considered a clean shot to the body, the referee didn't call it. And later, shortly, he was stopped. He came back and fought Jarrell Miller, stopped him in the final seconds. Rocky moment. Then he turned around. Filip Hrgović, touted as a heavyweight contender, got him. Stopped him, y'all. And then I know certain people don't want me to bring this up, but I will anyway because it's pertinent to what I'm mentioning here. But he went in there and destroyed, decimated, annihilated, devastated, alleviated Anthony Joshua. I remember hearing people saying that Anthony Joshua was back. He had an Otto Wallin win, and then he went in there against an 0-1 MMA former world heavyweight champion of the UFC. He went in there and blasted him out for $20 million because all of a sudden Francis Ngannou wanted to participate in the mannequin challenge while he was in a full-blown heavyweight fight. Man, get out of here. Now, to the Alexander Usyk, we already seen his body of work. The man's coming off two wins over Tyson Fury, 2-0. He has 2-0 over the former unified champion, Anthony Joshua. 1-0 over the current IBF heavyweight world champion, Daniel Dubois. This man really is the reigning defending undisputed heavyweight world champion as we know it in Alexander Usyk. He's going back in there for a rematch against Daniel Dubois, y'all. A much improved Daniel Dubois, who's on a roll, man. He's on a streak. In Wembley Stadium, July 19th. God damn. I wish that fight was over here in the U.S. I'm not gonna lie to you. I wish, I wish upon a star, God damn it, that star was over here in Vegas. I really wish this heavyweight fight was over in Vegas, man. I do. But once again, when you weigh it, you balance it out based off the body of work, based off what have you done for me lately. Even though Daniel Dubois has been showing out boxing IQ, I still give the edge to Alexander Usyk. I do. The boxing display that he did against Tyson Fury, not just in the first one, but in the second one, he came in heavier and he used his wrestling skill in the clinch. I just believe that he has too much up top, and also, his physical skills. I just give him the edge over Dubois in those areas, and look, people need to pay attention. What's about to happen? I haven't heard nobody mention it, but Alexander Usyk is about to go down in history. You know why? He's about to go down in history. He's already in history right now. But you know what he's about to do, right? Alexander Usyk is about to become 3-time undisputed, yo. He's about to become 3-time undisputed. Not in 3 different divisions, but 2 divisions. Cruiserweight once and heavyweight twice. I do. I'm predicting that he defeats Daniel Dubois. Yes, even though I'm hoping to see Daniel Dubois go in there and get the best performance of his life. I am. I mean, what a night it would be if Dubois can go in there and just shock everybody with his skill, his boxing IQ, his decision making, using proper range, his cardio. Daniel Dubois has shown to have very, very respectable cardio. Alexander Usyk has already shown us that he's not the biggest heavyweight in the game, but he does present strength. He's not a weak heavyweight. He's not a runner. You know what I'm saying? He is smart with his freaking punch selection. So this is going to be an incredible fight, yo. And he's about to make history again, in my opinion. He's about to become 3-time undisputed. Alexander Usyk. It may not be in 3 divisions, but he is about to become 3-time undisputed. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, indeed. I just think Daniel Dubois will come up a little short. It's not impossible to drop Usyk. I believe that was a clean shot the first time they fought. But with that said, in my opinion, the better competition in between that window, I would give to Alexander Usyk. Even though Daniel Dubois did go in there and beat Joshua, I'm going to be honest with you. I always thought that Joshua was overrated. I'm just being honest, y'all. Okay? But, keep your eyes and ears peeled for that. I got a little time, man. I'm gonna drop the link in the chat for anyone who just want to talk about some boxing in general. You may not want to, but I got about 5, 10. I'm gonna wait about 5. Nobody come up cool. I'm bouncing. But I just want to hear the insight of what's going on, what people's thought process is, because I don't do panels often. You know what I'm saying? So I just dropped the link in the chat. And I'm curious to know or want to hear your take on the state of affairs. I want to hear your insight. If you have any ideas as to how you want to see certain fights play out in the upcoming weeks, I'm open to hear that. I'm very much open to hear that. Real talk. It's always good to get information from a different set of eyes, But while I'm in the process, boxing media, when I say y'all the worst, that's not encompassing all of you. Some of you are spot on, solid, and doing your thing. But some of you cats, all you do is just come in here and try to find controversy and find a way to basically devalue a fighter's relevance in the sport. Shout out to Blue Hustle in the building. What it do, man?
What's good with your boss?
I'm good, man. How was your Sunday, bro?
Oh, good. Yours?
Straight, man.
You know,
What's
I had to
man?
had
Is
to
it,
run around a little bit.
oh,
Still,
you running around? Okay.
I had to.
So what's your thought process? And appreciate that I do. What's your thought process in the recent events, man? How you like that fight this weekend?
Um, I thought it was a good fight. Not gonna
You said
lie, I actually.
I don't know if you watched it. You said
No, I watched it. I watched it. I thought so. I thought the right person won. If
okay.
if Ben, you can see Ben when he couldn't do anything, man. He couldn't do anything, man. Because he was hurting, but he couldn't keep up. He couldn't keep up the same performance the whole time.
Do
And
you
I
feel
thought,
he was a little bit outside range with all the flair and all the
most
energy that
definitely.
he brought in there early on? It just seems like
Hmm.
he was just a tad bit out of range, man.
Yeah, yeah, he was fighting with a little bit of, he had a little bit of anger in his heart fighting in that one.
A little
You know
bit.
what I'm saying?
He had a lot.
You know what I mean? So I felt like that kind of played his part too, also. But I think that he could have pulled it off if in the last 3 rounds or last 2 rounds, he would have just won
Mhm.
those 2 rounds. I think he could have pulled off the win. But in my opinion, he allowed him to win, Eubank to win and pull off the victory. So that's why
As
I was
far,
like, man,
do you place any points of concern? Like, was it because of the 14-month layoff, or him moving up and fighting a heavier fighter? Because clearly
him
Eubank was the heavier fighter in that fight.
that and the layoff too.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it all played its part. Honestly, it did. You know what I'm saying? And you could tell that he has like an old school fighter mentality because he be calling out people. So
Mm-hmm.
he called out Boots. He called out a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? He went for this fight too. And I don't think that he really needs to do a rematch. But no matter what, I just think that he can't really. I don't know. I think it's too much weight. If he was a
Okay.
little bit more polished in his fighting style, like he was more precise, then it'd be different. You see what I'm saying? I would be like, yeah, he could pull this off, but I think he's gonna have to be like perfect in this next fight, in order to pull it off. Because um you have to see what weight they're coming in. It's gonna be the same weight too. You see what I'm saying?
Good question. I mean, good proposal. Is it going to be the same way? Yeah. I feel you on that. Is it?
So I
I
don't
don't have the answer for you.
yeah, I don't either. So that's what I'm saying. Is it gonna be at the same weight? I mean, because I feel like, it went his way, Chris's way this time. How about it go, his weight, and then he drops it down maybe a little bit. But he came in at 56.4, and I was like, man, that's still cool. So I just thought that, did he have a hard time gaining weight? Is that what was his mentality? Maybe that could play a part in it too, and the outcome of the fight. You know what I'm saying? Maybe if he gains a little bit more weight and does it and sits down on his punches a little bit more and just a little bit more precision. I mean, he could pull. I think he could pull the fight off. But styles make fights, and we don't know what's going to happen this fight. What trainer is Eubank gonna go with this on this fight too? Also, he switches his trainers up. So you there?
Oh, well, I'm back, man. I had
Oh
to
no, you
readjust
good?
my freaking plug my PC in.
Yeah, you good. But
Would you
yeah, it
want to
just
see him? Would you want to see him return back to 147 his next fight,
yes.
or just go into the rematch?
I would rather see him go to 147. Tell you the truth, I don't really want to see the rematch. I just feel
Okay.
like he's just Eubank is just too big. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you went in there, did your fight. We all know you got heart.
Yeah.
You didn't have to, do that fight. And you did the best you motherfucking could on every no matter what, you
Yep.
did the best you fucking could. So I'm not gonna hold nothing against him. I don't think he has anything to prove. But if he feels like he can beat him, I'm gonna say go ahead. If he feels like he could change something up, and this is what I will say, being like coming from his perspective, if he feels like he could change something to make the outcome differently, then I'm all with it. And he believes in it. You know what I'm saying? But just going back into it with no confidence and just being like, man, it's just pride right there. Because pride can get your ass kicked again. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, why don't you just,
I
if
don't
you
think
know
he got
that,
his ass kicked this time though.
well, I mean, I just feel like I'm not going to say, what I mean is he lost. That's all I'm trying to say. You know
Well,
what I mean?
losing and getting your ass kicked is different. You know what I'm
It,
saying?
it,
It hits
it,
different.
it is, but I understand that, but I just meant that he lost. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
in a way, in the latter end of the round, it looked like he didn't, and it looked like he wasn't going to win. That's just in my personal opinion. Yes, he was up there. He wasn't getting hurt like that. And I guess he broke Eubank's jaw. I don't know if that's true or not, allegedly. But,
You
I,
say that last part again?
I guess he
Allegedly what?
broke,
Oh no.
Chris Eubank Jr.'s jaw. I don't know
No,
if
they
it's
just
true or
put that
not.
word out over there in the UK, but that's not
Oh,
true.
okay. Okay. See?
Yeah, like I think he went over he had to go to the hospital for a cut over his right eye.
Yeah, that I did know. Yeah, that I did know. Well, like I said, um, if he feels like if Connor feels like he can win that fight, then I'm with it. You see what I'm saying? Then let's do the rematch. But if it's just pride, man, let that shit go and do the best you can to go in there and show your ass. Because I think at 147, he can contend with any of them. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? You got strength, you got power. You know what I'm saying? You can see he's athletic. You know, he can work on some things here and there, but at 147, it's an even playing, even playing ground. He can get in there with the best of them and make a difference.
Yeah, I agree, man. I
So
think he'll definitely shake up that division. Um, Not like it needs shaking up, but it's just missing one piece to the puzzle to really get people to tune in if those fights are going to happen. I mean, it'll be great for him to come down there and fight a Barrios because a lot of people
yeah,
believe that Barrios fight Norman Jr. Boots, he's gonna get stopped because he's just been getting beat up his last fight. But you put Conor Benn down there, that kind of shakes things up based off this performance.
yeah, yeah. Because I think he can go in there, he can stir up the pot most definitely. Yes, he can. That's what I do know. That's why I said go in and give him the Ryan Garcias, you know what I'm saying? The Devin Hayes, the boots, give him see what he can do. I think shit, he ain't gonna run.
Nah, he
Hmm.
ain't gonna run at all, man. And then, talking about um Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, That was supposed to be the original projection, right? They was going to fight if they both win their respective fights, right? But now they're talking about
Yeah,
pushing Ryan Garcia versus Boots.
yeah. And I don't think that's right. Let
I
Devin
don't think
Haney
it's
and,
right either.
and,
That's why I keep telling people like Turkey's doing his own thing, bro.
mm-hmm. Yeah, he pushing that. Like, I don't even think this rematch should happen between them so quickly. You know?
But like I said, he's doing his own thing. Like I don't know, man. He's really doing his own thing. Like I don't feel no type of way about it. Like I'm mad and angry, but he's really doing his own thing. And this is exactly what boxing gets for allowing the sport to be unregulated, allow it to
Yeah.
be so open
Yes.
door policy. And now you're getting somebody that's taking full advantage of that shit, bro.
Yep. You're right.
In my opinion. One thing I can assume and what I see off Turk is that he played for keeps, bro. That's all I'm saying.
No, you got a valid point. You got a valid point, most definitely, because you don't never you don't know what his true intentions is. You see what I'm saying? And it's kind of like why would you sit there and do an automatic rematch? I would first, maybe he did check with him. I can't sit there and assume that he didn't check with the fighters and see what's going on. So he could have checked with the fighters. I'm talking about for this rematch to happen, Conor Benn and Eubanks. Do you think there should be a rematch?
Yeah, the reason being is it was close. It was close, right? And no knockdowns. You're talking about family history. Boxing is based off some type of story, right? So why not have him get back in there? Pretty good crowd turnout, and the energy was great. I would like to see a rematch, man. Why? Be honest with you, there, Blue. It's not that much going on in boxing right now. Like I'm gonna be honest, like we don't have any grand fights that we just where are they at? Which ones you looking forward to? Like it's about to be May. I mean, where's some of these top notch fights that we can say
Yeah.
that we're looking forward over the next several months?
hmm You got a point. I
That's all
mean,
I'm saying. Like that's the
you
only
got a
reason I would
point.
say I'll watch it again.
Yeah. I mean, it was a good fight though, but I just feel like, man, I don't know. I just feel like I want to see only reason why I would like to see the rematch if Conor Benn has in his head that he could do something different to win. Otherwise,
I feel you.
you just cashing out. So you just like, I want to see you dominate. I want to see you go in there and do something great. You know what I'm saying? You just did something great, but I'm like, just go to 147 and see what you can really fucking do. Cause you might be able to go out there and start clowning start really just dominating 147. But there's some hitters out there to where I don't think it's gonna happen like that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like Brian Norman Jr. I mean, you got Boots. These are fighters that I want to see the
Yeah,
fight.
47 is about to be lit. And if he was to go back down to 47, he will only add to that spark because we're talking about Ryan's getting to the
Facts.
division. Devin's getting to the division. I mean, it's a lot that's coming to 147 right now with Boots and everything being the unified champion. Yeah, man, it may potentially be one of the hottest division if they can start fighting each other.
Yes, and that's the whole point I'm trying to make right there. It'll be a good. It's gonna be some good fights, man. It could be some really good fights, man. You know.
It's kind of wild to assume because it's a lot of assuming that goes on with how the promotion is playing out. We don't know what the networks are going to be, what the budget is and all of that. So I don't know, man. I don't know. It just comes down to like what fights are going to be made. Like we thought for a minute that 147 we was going to see another unification, but yet we seeing Boots fight. What's his name? Who is Boots fighting next? Gilsoft. Norman's
Mhm.
heading overseas in Japan to fight Jen Sasaki. Barrios, he's supposedly fighting Manny Pacquiao. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, bro. We're gonna put
Yeah.
147 on pause a little bit for the champions fighting each other. You know,
Hey, you right
we
though.
yeah, we just got Stantionis, but you know, when the hitters come in, you know, we still got the hitters out there, and that might not be the 2026.
Mm. I want to see what's going to really happen with the 147 because you got new fighters, you got fighters coming, going up like Ryan Garcia and them. And, you know, like you just said, it is going to make a difference. So it's going to be it's going to be wild. It's going to be wild. That's what I'm anticipating. I want to see what happens. I don't want to see, Boots and Ryan Garcia. I don't want to see that, bro. I want to see Devin Haney and
Agree.
Ryan. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Then
yeah,
Boots can fight Norman. Stop trying to duck that smoke. You know what I'm saying? After y'all
yeah,
get these fights out the way, then you fight Norman next. Stop trying to fight Ryan Garcia. That makes no sense. You know, make this shit make sense. You get paid more money fighting, doing the fights that we want to see.
yeah.
You know, I mean, what the fuck? That don't make no sense.
But Turk is doing what Turk want to do. God damn it. He say when the money is
Hmm.
flowing from this area over here, I'm gonna make the decisions how I want to see. So
If you like it or not.
yeah, whether you like it or not. I want to get your thoughts on the Times Square situation. What's your thoughts on that, man? Like, how do you see the whole process? Like, what's your predictions, man? What's your true predictions in your heart of heart
On what?
on this three fight that's coming up this weekend in Times
Oh,
Square with Ryan
I think,
Garcia, Devin Haney, and Teal?
yeah. So I want to see, I want to see Barbosa's win. I think he can pull it off. I want to go for the underdog in that fight
Okay.
versus TL. Um, and I don't really care who wins the fight between Rolly and Ryan. And the reason why is because even if Rolly was the win, that fight still would be a big fight between Ryan and Devin Haney. You see what I'm saying? Because they got history.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter. You know,
Mhm.
that fight can still be a big fight regardless. You know what I mean? So, don't really care. But on the Devin Haney and, Ramirez, I want to see Devin Haney go out there and do his thing. You know what I mean? Now, Ramirez, I just don't think that Ramirez is going to be able to pull it off. You know, stay on point the whole 12 rounds because I know Devin Haney is going to be able to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and say Devin Haney got that in the bag. And, Ryan should have his in the bag too. You know, honestly, but you got Rolly with the power. You see what I'm saying? He got that
Stop
power.
it,
So he got
man.
the,
See, you was sounding everything was straight until you got they picked up that next
nah,
class, dog.
nah,
Man, y'all
I
still
gotta be
give Rolly a
realistic.
chance, man.
He
God
got a puncher's
damn.
chance, bro. You can't listen. He's got a puncher's chance, man. You can't deny it. You know he does. That's
I
all that
don't,
matters.
man. I don't because that dude has been wrecked in his only two losses. He's been wrecked by Isak Cruz as his last freaking stoppage. The puncher's chance, man. What if the punch never has a chance? What if
Yeah, you're
Ryan
right.
Garcia lands that punch on him first and he don't even have a chance to get it off?
But see, that is true. But I'm not, I'm not looking at it from that point of view. I'm looking at it for the point of what if Rolly lands that punch against
Oh,
Ryan
you want to
Garcia?
go?
Can he take
You
that?
looking at it from the underdog, way
Yeah.
underdog.
Yeah, you can say whatever you want to say, but I'm just saying if
Under the
Ryan go in
sewer
there
system
overlooking him,
underdog. I get it.
no, hold on. See, I'm feeling like Ryan should win no matter what, but there's a chance that Rolly could pull it off, bro. That's all I'm saying. Rolly could, like, God damn it, I'm gonna put all my might in this one punch and just throw it. You know what I'm saying? And he get lucky and everything happen, you know? So I don't know.
I mean, I feel it's okay to go for the underdog here and there, but that
Hmm.
underdog, no, you should leave that in the kennel, big dog. You should leave that in the kennel for real.
Well, you know what? No, I can't even say anything on that one.
Well,
No,
I'm just
that's
saying, bro. Like,
Ryan should win the fight though. You know what I'm saying? But let's just say, what if Rolly does win? I don't care. I still want to see.
bro, man, come on
I don't
now.
want to see no rematch. I still want to be able to see Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia rematch. That's all I'm
So you
trying to get
saying
at.
if Rolly pulls off the upset, because it would be an upset, right?
Yes, it would be.
You
Hmm.
wouldn't want to see Rolly go in there and try to have another upset against Boots. Come on, you don't want to see that? Shit, you going for the underdog,
No,
right?
because I'd rather
Stick
no,
with the
hold
underdog.
on,
Keep
hold
him
on.
on the choke
No,
leash and walk him over
because
there to goddamn Philly.
no, because the whole time after they next fight, it's gotta I gotta see Boots and Brian Nolan, bro. Them niggas they want the smoke, man. Normans want the smoke.
Feel you on that,
You know
man.
what I'm saying? I want to see that fight. That's all I'm trying to say on that one. And then Rolly can have whoever he wants to have. You know what I'm saying? After those fights happen. Because as far as I'm concerned, there ain't no excuse. If I was boosting him, I'll be trying to get that smoke. But you know what? Politics, business or boxing, so, probably gonna, put their foot down in that situation.
But did you forget they're fighting for a WBA Reggie, right? Ryan and
Yeah.
Rolly is fighting for a WBA Reggie, right? So you're
hmm
talking about Rolly. If you ask him, he would be 3-time world champion.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
interim championship that he claiming off Jackson Marine as in Connecticut, the belt that he won, that he was given, and when he moved up to 140, and he was, gifted when Tony Weeks stopped the fight, and now this fight with Ryan Garcia. Rolly will have a hell of a resume, man.
Yeah. Yeah. He would.
He will have a hell of a resume, bro. If he
Yeah, he
pulls
would.
it off.
Yeah, he would. I ain't gonna lie. But see, Rolly got to win though. If he was winning, it'd be better. You feel me?
Yeah, he only got 2 losses, believe it or not, man.
Yeah, but he
When
got to
he came
win
up,
the ones that count the
yeah,
matters. You
you
see what
got to
I'm
win the
saying?
ones that count now.
You know?
Yeah, I agree with that. He has to win the ones that count. He has to. This is his time. I mean, I'm not saying if he don't win this fight, he need to retire. No, because Rolly, he's gonna continue to get fights, man. He's still young, believe it or not. Rolly's still a young dude.
He's
But
still getting paid. He's getting what? 15 million allegedly 15 million apiece. Both of them.
hell no, for real, hell no. Where you hear that from, man?
Man, I don't. Well, I don't know.
For
Allegedly,
real,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I heard. 15
15
million
million
apiece.
apiece. We might never see Rolly again. We might
Oh,
never
bro.
see him again after 15 million.
Bro, him and Ryan getting that apiece. I don't know if it's true, allegedly. So
Man,
if
I
that's true,
gotta
that's
find out where
crazy.
your source at. What panel you heard that on, man? Huh?
And
Reveal your sources, big dog. Come on, man.
um, well, what I'll do
Well,
is I'll go back and check, and then I'll let you know. No, I'll let you know. I got you. No, you know I will.
you gotta go do the private chat and say, hey man, it's okay for me to,
No,
you
no,
know,
no, no. I'm gonna go back and look at what I was watching
try to
when
find
I
out.
heard that
Hold on for a second. Let me see.
because I thought it was I was listening to it today earlier. Yeah, hold on.
I'll look this shit up right now.
Yeah, look up purse bids. Rolly, Ryan and Rolly, purse bids, leaked or whatever or released. One or the other. I think it's released, but I don't know if it's true though. That's all I'm saying because that's a lot, and I'm
I'm
thinking
reading
that
on
that ain't
here.
even worth it. They don't even. I don't even. Man, he ain't worth.
I can't see no
I don't want to
15
say. I don't
million.
want to tell another man what he's worth and what he's not worth. But goddamn, 15 million a piece. That's some good money, bro.
That is some
And
good
you
money.
and you
That's
losing
a hell
and
of
you
a good
losing. It
money.
ain't like you coming off a loss, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, off a win, you've been losing. Your fucking score doesn't drop. So goddamn.
Okay, this is not it. God damn it. No, this is recent. Shit. No, that's not it. Let's see. Okay.
You see something?
the estimated purchase. So it's a oh, this is
I mean,
old. I'm glad I checked the date before I read this shit because this is old information.
mhm. Think about it. I don't know, man, if that's true, bro. I'm just saying. That's crazy.
That seems a little high, 15 million for Romero. I can see Ryan, but for Romero, that seems a little high for me.
Well,
That he would get offered that
think
much.
about it.
I can see
He
something
got
around
paid.
4 million, five
Well, didn't he
million.
get paid? Well, Tank, when he fought Tank, he got good money with Tank, right? So every
Yeah,
time
but
he
I don't
fights
think it
somebody
was
that's
no
got some,
15 million.
huh?
I don't think it was. I don't think Rolly fought Tank. He got 15 million, 10 million at least. No,
No, no, no. I'm not saying 15 million. I'm saying I like his, like the way he moves, he generates a lot of money because people want to see him. So maybe that's what his card was when he went in there. You know, no matter if I win or lose, people still want to see me fight. You see what I'm saying?
yeah,
So, because I mean, goddamn, you know, and when they were doing that face off, remember that? Did you watch the face off between Rolly and them?
yeah. Uh huh.
And what's the name was interviewing him? He said right then, he said, you know, we're getting paid a lot of money. And he told that to Ryan. Ryan was like, no, no. Ryan said that to Rolly, and Rolly was like, yeah, I know. So
Mm.
I'm thinking like they getting paid, bro, some money, bro. And Ryan threw that out there like, and that interview was just weird to me, really fucking weird to me.
Yeah, that whole fiasco with them being in the same room together and all that. Um, it just didn't. Will you make 20 million for this fight? Something like that, said Garcia. So he's saying he's getting something like 20 million, close to it. Ryan
Yeah.
Garcia himself, but I don't see
So Ryan,
a purse difference
Ryan,
for Rolly.
so maybe maybe Ryan might be getting 20, he's getting 15, or maybe they're getting, you know what I'm saying, like 20 and or 15 for Ryan, and I don't know what to say. I'm just speculating like a motherfucker, but I know they're getting paid some money because Ryan threw that out there, like motherfucker, like you know we're getting paid for this fight, so you know what I'm saying.
So I'm
And
guessing,
Rolly,
I'm guessing, let's just say that Rolly is getting paid a couple of mil or whatever. That's still good.
mm,
I
hell
ain't mad
yeah.
at him. That's still
Let's see
good
if
for him.
he's getting, even if he's getting, we'll say 10 million or 7 million, he's still getting paid, bro. Even 5 million is still getting paid. Fuck it, they could be 15 million altogether. Ryan getting 10, Rolly getting 5. That's still getting paid, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's still getting paid. Shit. Let me get 5 million real quick. I ain't gonna say shit, but thank you. You know what I'm saying? And start doing more investments. That's all I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
Turn it up. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna make that 5 turn into 10, or 10 turn into 20. You know what I'm saying?
That's if
You
you
don't
don't
let
get
me be
the
able
shit knocked out
to.
of you. You might, being that you're not as experienced, you might get up and you barely be able to carry on the full sentence and conversation no more. You
Oh,
might need to
see.
spend that 5 million in physical therapy. You
Well,
know what
I'm
I'm saying?
saying
You
if
might
I
have
was
to
in their
take a
condition,
physical
not in
therapy,
my
bro.
condition, trying to go in there and fight in my condition. No. Or getting that money, period. Doing the business transaction, you know what I'm saying? Shit.
Yeah, that's
I don't know,
crazy.
but yeah, bro. That's what I'm saying the whole time.
I wonder how much the
It's
undercard getting co-featuring Tio. I know they probably
mm,
get millions too. I doubt anybody on this card is getting less than 2 million. I mean, because Tio said he haven't even peaked a million yet. So I know he getting million on this fight. So
hmm 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 I think Tio's probably making like 2 million on this fight.
you said
I think he
10 or
probably
2?
two.
Damn.
Mhm. I think he
That's
probably
I don't know. That's super low, bro. That's super
No, I'm
low.
saying at least. I meant to say at least.
I mean, because you think about it, he's accomplished more,
Correct.
than majority of them on there. For him to get
Well,
a measly 2 million for fighting a tough fight in Arnold Barbosa, that's a bit strange when it comes down to it.
now let me ask you this: since they're the first fight, does it go like So, I mean,
I know where
the
you're
main
going.
event gets paid the
Go
most
through
money,
first.
correct? You know
Yeah,
what I'm
for
saying?
real.
So you being
Right.
the first fight, you ain't making that much. You gonna make some money, but you ain't gonna make that much. You see what I'm saying?
Feel you on that.
So I mean,
Yeah. Solid.
so that's the reason why I said what I said. At least 2 million. I mean, shit, you go from not making no money to making some money, a guarantee like that. That's still good money.
Hell yeah. It's
You know
good
what I
money.
mean?
That's good money for
That's
sure.
still good
I
money.
ain't gonna hold you.
And I guarantee you they're giving more money to Tio
Devin Haney.
than
Okay. Yeah.
no. Haney's making more money. Haney's I would say damn. See the thing about it with Haney, he owns his own promotional company. So he's sitting down at the table with them, negotiating his part. You see what I'm saying? So so yeah, they're so he's pretty much, how do I say this? Devin Haney getting paid. He getting paid. You see what I'm saying? So no matter what, he I don't know if I would say it would be hard to say if he's getting paid less than Ryan. They could probably be getting paid right around the same amount. Or he could damn near be getting paid more. What you think?
I
What
don't
do you
know.
say?
What you asked me what I think. I'm trying to contemplate. I'm trying to ponder.
Yeah, 'cause think about it, man. You know what I'm saying? He's got his own promotional company.
Man, that
So
don't mean shit. I mean, look, really, at the end of the day, I know you mentioned this before, but when it comes to having your own promotional company, it don't mean anything unless you really putting up some of the site fee or you really doing what promoters do. Just having your own promotional company for business purposes, I mean, that don't say much just because it looks good when you arranging money and shit like that. Its own promotional company. You talking about what? DHP?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, really, when it comes to boxing, your own promotional company, if you're not contributing to the site fee and the insurance of the fighters and stuff like that, hmm, are you
Yeah.
really doing what a promoter's supposed to do? I'm just
No,
saying.
you got a point. You got a point. You got a point. But that's what I was saying. What I was saying, like, it seems to me like they should still be getting some kind of money. He
Yeah,
should be getting some kind of money, having his own promotional company. Then why
just
even
think
try to
about that.
flex it like that? You see what I'm saying?
If it was that easy, Blue, everybody would come up here with
Mm.
their own promotional company to get more money. It don't work like that with the way that the way that um
Now, see, hold
protocol
on.
and
I know it
format,
doesn't. I,
whatever, it doesn't work like that. Just having your own promotion company is going to get you paid more money. That's not how it works.
well, I thought, you probably have to do certain things. You know what I'm saying? I understand that. And I wasn't meaning just because you have your own promotional company that you're going to be, getting the bigger bucks. But usually you have to have some kind of backing or experience to go along with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
History, or you, like you're saying, putting up some kind of money, you know what I'm saying, on the card. Like shit, if we put up five, like the thing's 5 million, and you put up two, you see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
can you help out? You know what I mean? So if you're not helping out, putting up anything, then I can
You ain't
understand.
putting up shit, man. I mean, just think
Yeah,
about it. If you want to come in here
yeah.
with your own promotional company, your purse 10 million, and they ask you to put up five, man, come on now. You got other people to pay
Well,
and taxes? And taxes?
so
What's the hell is what the purpose of coming in with your own promotional company if you got to
mm,
put up half of your purse or whatever, pay taxes,
yeah.
pay your people? No, man. That no.
Well,
Yeah,
let
it's
me ask
good.
you this:
Sounds good.
can't you get can't you get more leverage when it comes to negotiating? At least having your own promotional company.
No, man, not from what I heard. No, that doesn't have any leverage relevance when it comes to negotiation. Just coming in there with a name. Oh, I got my own promotion. That doesn't take much to have your own promotion. All you have to do is get your license, be qualified to be a promoter, fill out the paperwork, whatever. Shout out to Big Bunsen Boxing in the building. Salute to you, bro. Shout out to Streets on deck. From my understanding, no. Just think about it. Every fighter will be coming on deck doing that. I don't know.
Yeah. I can see that. Yeah, I can understand that. I just was feeling like maybe that's what he's using it to his benefit, to help him out when it comes to negotiating or something like that. I thought it also could, have perks like that too. It ain't just about, getting the most money. It could be just being able to sit down at the table and get your point across a little bit more to where you can kind of get what you want. If that's not what it is, that's just not what it is, man. You know what I'm saying?
It's certain benefits to having a promotional company. I assume. But in this case, going to the table and saying it pretty much expands your perimeter when it comes to leverage and negotiating more money. I don't know about that, man. Them promoters are gonna look at you like, man, you ain't putting nothing up. Like, are you really a promoter? It just take more than a name.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I
they
gotta
gonna look
definitely
at his
bounce.
ass crazy.
What
You
now?
got what? What'd you say, bro?
No, I gotta bounce and take care of some stuff. Finish
Okay.
cooking this dinner, bro.
Yep.
I don't have a nanny like you, bro. So I gotta get my stuff straight.
Man, I ain't got no. Hey, look, I ain't got no nanny.
I don't have a butler. You know what
I
I'm saying?
need one. I need one,
I
bro.
don't have a butler or anything like that.
Hey, look. I don't either, but I need one though. Damn it.
Right. Well,
Woo.
yeah. Catch
All
up.
right, brother. You be
Catch up with
easy.
me next time, Blue. You know what it is, man. Appreciate you
You
pulling up
already
as
know, man.
always.
Appreciate you, brother.
All
Peace.
right. Yo, shout out to the hottest chat in the MFN game. Appreciate everyone who pulled up today. I'm out. Until next time.